Thank you for tuning in to episode 2 of the SMB Labs podcast, presented by 910 West. We experiment with small business so you don't have to. Today, our guest is business owner and engineer, Chris Valenti. Now, here's your host, Jasmine Holmes.
Today, I'm visiting with Chris Valenti, owner of CK Valenti Designs, located here in Chandler, Arizona. They are an amazing craftsman company, and I'm going to turn it over to Chris to tell us a little bit more about his company and what it is they do.
Thank you, Jasmine. We are a specialty fabrication shop, and we focus on high-end commercial and theming environments. We also still do residential work. We are a general contractor as well, and we build a little bit of everything with a custom touch to mostly everything we do. We do have a technology side of the business as well. So my background is quite a bit diverse, where I grew up in a household with a union carpenter father. So I grew up working with wood, and that went on for a while. Then I went to college and became an electrical engineer. So I'm an electrical engineer by trade. And then later in my career, we started CK Valenti in 2004 to work with wood and metal combination type projects. And then we invested heavily into the museum world in about 2013, 2014. And that's where we've been going for the last several years, is into the museum and theming world with our wood, metal, plastic fabrication, as well as interactives, which is the electronic side of things.
So what's your favorite project that you've ever done?
My favorite project, let's see, there's a few, but I think one of the recent ones would be the Fiesta Bowl Museum, where we took all of their college football helmets. It was probably about 130. And we put them on floating wood shells, and then we lit up each one with an LED that's controllable by a tablet that's mounted to a kiosk right in front of the display. Then we have another one in Odyssey Aquarium, which is an interactive that is tied to video monitors and silhouettes of the continents with simulated LED rivers running through them. So the ones where we get to combine our fabrication of wood, metal, and plastic with our electronic side, those are unique, and those are usually a lot of fun to do.
Excellent. And so we can see those two items either by visiting the Odyssey Aquarium, that's the Rivers of the World exhibit, correct?
Correct, in Scottsdale.
Or the Fiesta Bowl Museum. And are they open to the public?
Yes, they both are open to the public. Fiesta Bowl is free to enter, and the aquarium has an entry fee.
Excellent, excellent. So two places you can see some of Chris's very unique work, where he's blending craftsmanship, so traditional building, with electronics, which I think we'll only see more of in the future. So what are some of the challenges doing such specialized work like this? What are some of the challenges that you're facing in your business?
One of the biggest challenges is, and this is really nothing new, it's been going on for several years, is finding skilled tradespeople.
Yeah.
It's very difficult. There's a lot of turnover in our industry. It's not just me experiencing these challenges. When I talk with other shops, they have the same challenges, if not worse. But basically, I took it for granted growing up in the household that I did, that, I grew up working with my hands, and didn't realize what an advantage I was for that, because today, if you don't grow up working with your hands in your household and you don't get it in school, well, then you pretty much don't get a chance to learn it or be exposed to it. And we're seeing that with the younger generation, that less and less are able to work with their hands or are interested in doing so.
Gotcha. And so you touched on the fact, and I've heard this from other folks I know who are working in various trades, is there just isn't people out there that have the skills, even the basic skills, to come in the door. So a lot of training involved. And you're attributing this directly to just the interest. So is it that the interest isn't there, or is it just that maybe they're not being exposed to it like in years past?
I think it's a combination of a few things. I think one, it is well known that the high school shop classes are being deleted.
Hmm.
So that's part of the problem. The other problem is I think we get consumed by our mobile devices, and we could just about have everything by touching the screen and sitting on the couch, and that's unfortunate. I have my mobile device right here, and I use it, but I think it also works to a disadvantage when it comes to putting a little elbow grease in and working hard and building something on your own as opposed to just buying it offline.
Sure. I mean, technology is great, but we have really gotten into this idea of, we want it now, and I think we've gotten so hung up some ways on learning technology and things on our computers that we have lost touch with that there are the tactile part of what we do. I mean, I'm in a technology business, but that's one of the things that's important to me is I unplug every weekend, and try to not touch my computer as little as possible, because I just need a break from it. And I'm doing tactile stuff. I'm doing stuff working with my hands. And I think we could definitely see more inspiration in that area.
Yes, definitely. I mean, we use a lot of technology here, and it definitely helps us keep us organized, makes us efficient, but still need to sometimes get down to the grassroots of how things are manufactured and how we did things 20, 30 years ago. That has not disappeared. It's just that there's a different mindset today, and we see it with the guys hitting the shop floor. Some of them have to be trained on pushing a broom, never mind using tools and creating something with their hands.
So a unique challenge for sure, not unique in that lots of folks in the industry are having that, but probably unique to you because you do require a higher level of skill than some of the other trades as well, right? With the type of work you do.
That is correct. We do cater to the high end, high quality side of the industry, where we do need to have a level of finesse. And finesse is a key word for us because we work in very, I would say, delicate environments around expensive artwork in some cases. And, we just, everybody has to be conscious of that at all times. Our work requires a touch of precision. And so it definitely complicates the search for skilled tradespeople. They are out there, but they are dwindling. We are going to experience a greater gap once the baby boomers go away and they're entering their retiring phase. So it's going to get worse before it gets better.
So what you're saying is you're really seeing a lot of your hiring pool is on the older end of the spectrum, and you're just not seeing the younger people coming in, like you're not seeing those resumes come across your desk.
Correct. We anybody that has come in at the younger age is usually does not have the experience that we're looking for. So we definitely see the more experienced group in the higher age group. But it would be nice if if the younger generations could be coming up to speed more on this with more training programs or let's bring shop class back to high schools. So and even into college, we need to bring that hands-on back into our lives. That's key. Hands-on. Everything cannot be done with a computer or robots, and
Sure.
especially what we do cannot be done with robots. We are designing one-off pieces. It's not production line, and it has to have the human touch.
So what I hear you saying is we really need to be encouraging children at a younger age. So I mean, high school, college, but really even before that, to get interested in working with their hands, or at least for the kids that's it's a match with their skill set, or just may appeal to them based on their interest level. Get them exposed to that more, so they can be aware that it's there.
Exactly, and I think that starts with society and how we view the trades. For many years, society has looked down on the trades as low paying blue collar work. And in some cases that may be true, but in other cases it's not. Whether you're a plumber, welder, carpenter, painter, there are good paying jobs out there for skilled people, and society needs to stop putting a cloud over that. Everybody is not meant to go to college. It seems like we're on a big push everybody through college, and a lot of the resumes we get are graduates that cannot find a job, nor do they have a skill set. So
Yeah.
it's not working. Things have to change.
I second that. I think there's definitely a time and place for college, and for certain folks, it's the right fit for certain kids. But for other kids, it's really, technical education, working with their hands. And I'll tell you, I have a client there, an HVAC contracting company. They had a kid, he was a couple of years out of high school, making six figures, bought a house. Whereas a lot of his other kids his age were still in college and racking up student debt. So you can build, you're right, there is a perception about the trades that does need to change, because you can be very successful and do really well. And for somebody who's not maybe a book type student, which there are a lot of kids out there like that, it's a great alternative, particularly if they do like working there with their hands and have a natural aptitude for it.
Exactly. And I mean, now is a time where you need to recognize the opportunity, because the lack of skilled labor, if you become well-versed, well-trained in your trade, you will just go to the top immediately, and you will be sought after and in high demand, and that would allow you to travel the world and do what you do. So it does involve a little elbow grease, like I said, though, and a little working hard, and
You have to be willing
not sitting at a desk.
Be willing to get a little dirty. But I got to tell you, there's something really satisfying about putting in a hard day of physical labor, and then you go and you're dirty, but you take that shower and you get clean afterwards. I mean, there's something, I don't want to do it every day, mind you. I really admire people who do, but there is something that's very satisfying about that.
Absolutely, absolutely. And you could look back, you could have some pride in it. I think we've lost pride, and I think we need to add back as well, and some accountability, some ownership in the things you do.
Well, and I think having a completed physical product certainly helps with that, right? Because you've got something, a physical manifestation of your labor versus something that's virtual. And so it does definitely, I think, instill a different sense of that responsibility too.
Right, exactly. And I, like I said, I went to college. I do have a bachelor's degree in electrical engineering, but I have been able to tie that into our business, as we spoke about earlier. So I'm not against college. I think if you are going to go to college, have a focus, a specific focus, and don't go for general purposes, and come out with a game plan. And it doesn't mean you can't work with your hands when you come out of college, but you got to come out with a game plan, and use those 4 to 5 years and just hit it hard, get your classes done, and excel at what you study, and come out knowing everything is possible, and then get into that specific field.
So like many things in life, it pays off to be strategic and intentional about it. Yes.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Unlike most, I wanted to get in college and get out as soon as possible. I'm not a school person.
Yeah, I'm the opposite. I would still be in college today if I didn't have to earn a living, much to my husband's horror whenever I mention that. But yes,
Right.
But I can appreciate that. There's a lot of people that's just, it's like book learning, not their thing. Yes.
Right. Yeah, it's book learning is great, but for me, I'm hands-on. I need to be playing with tools and building things, and so I couldn't wait to get out of college.
Yeah. Well, and you do use what you learned in college, though, because it's that technology side of the business that makes you guys unique, and being able to marry those two things together. So I think that's important to note, is like the perception of the trades that there isn't technology involved. My dad's a land surveyor, and they use very high-end computers, even though they're also out tromping in the desert to measure where property lines are. But they have some very sophisticated GPS equipment now. And so it's, all industries, you've got computers, you've got technology moving in. So there is definitely a place for that kind of training to complement, even if you are interested in working with your hands.
Absolutely. I mean, for what I didn't recognize when we started CK Valenti was how my electrical engineering background was going to come into play, because of the technology style displays that we did. I was able to talk the language with other engineers, whereas opposed, a fabricator only person may not be able to talk that language, and therefore integration would be an issue.
Excellent, excellent. So we've talked a little bit about the issue, which is, there's definitely a gap in the workforce, and particularly in the trades area, and really part of that being that kids are not being exposed to it, so they're not developing that interest, and or some misconceptions and perceptions about it. But you've come up with a unique solution, a unique way to tackle this problem. So why don't you tell us a little bit about that?
So last November, we started our first annual Breakout Challenge. And basically, we are targeting middle school students, 6th to 8th grade. And it's a challenge to get them to put down their electronic devices and get creative with their hands. We supply them with a full building kit. They have 2 weeks to complete their creation. And I call it a creation because they get no instructions. There's no manual. It's totally up to their imagination. Like I said, last November was our first year we did it. We didn't know the response that we were going to get. We were kind of shooting in the dark with this challenge, but we were actually overwhelmed, absolutely impressed with what was built. It was a great event. They had 2 weeks to build it, whatever they could imagine. Then they came to our facility, had a day event where they were judged. We gave out prizes to first, second, and third. We had pizza for lunch, and an ice cream truck was here. So it was a good day for family. We had a little Lego area set up. Just a good all-around day, a way for us to give back to the community. We've lived and worked in Chandler now for about 15 years. So it was good for the community event. And it was also, my secret motivation is hopefully we can inspire one of these kids to work with their hands and then potentially come back and work for us. So
Right.
that would it would go full circle for us. But like I said, if they're not picking it up in school and they're not picking it up at home, well, maybe this little event will at least inspire them and kick them off to say to their parents, after they've gone through our event, that, hey, let's go to Home Depot, pick up a few tools that are relatively inexpensive, pick up some materials, and let them start building. I started building, 38 years ago with the cutoffs from my father's projects. And I was making little garages for my Matchbox cars. So obviously, if I look back on that now, I'd say, what the heck is that? But that's how it starts.
Right.
It doesn't be expensive. You don't have to have a lot of tools. You just got to start building.
So
put the devices down, get a little dirty, get a little dusty, and start building. And that's what this event does. It's completely free. CK Valenti sponsors the event along with some outside sponsors as well. And there's no cost. All they have to do is come in, sign up, pick up their box, and then return in 2 weeks.
So tell me about what were some of the projects that came in that the kids built last year?
So first place was a bridge designed, a very designer style bridge that was painted all in gold. It was a great use of the materials. Second place was an RV with interior outfitted and a camping site. Another great piece, and we really didn't imagine it was going to go to this level. It was phenomenal. And third place was an installation art display. So not as much function, but more about art. So really great. Our judges were various local people, some artists, some designers, some people in public office. We had a magazine editor. So a very diverse crowd, but the top three definitely stood out.
Well, and it's interesting that the projects were so diverse. And I was at the event. I mean, I was amazed by what the kids built and the imagination coming out of the box. But you've got, the bridge, which is kind of your civil engineering, traditional construction. And then you've got an RV, which is, definitely a little bit more fun and playful. And then you've got the art side of things. So, I mean, just the variation and the opportunity for the kids to just really express themselves, that's pretty amazing.
Yeah, definitely. And the first place winner wants to be an interior designer.
Oh,
So I
okay.
think it was a good fit for her. So if it's that little extra nudge to push them into that direction, then mission accomplished.
Excellent. Was there anything that you were really surprised about as a result of this event, or just where it just turned out differently than you expected?
Um, I think I was surprised by the quality of the work because you generally don't see this. I don't think it's exhibited in schools too much because they're not given the opportunity. So it just proved that when given the opportunity to, sit down, be creative, work with your hands, not with a computer, they really can excel and produce some really awesome stuff. And I think they're capable. I just don't think the opportunities are being presented, and they're just being pushed in other directions that they may not necessarily want to go in.
And this event is targeted at middle school age children, correct? And that was intentional?
Correct. It was for 6th, 7th, and 8th graders.
And the reason for that?
We just felt that was kind of a sweet spot for getting kids inspired. That age group, where they could work with tools, still be a little safe.
Yeah.
And I think if you get inspired at that age, you got so much ahead of you time wise that it's a good starting point.
It's true. A lot of times by the time they're in high school, they may already have some ideas about the path they want to go. Whereas middle school, you said they're old enough that they can work with some of the things and you don't have to worry about safety, but they're not quite pre-decided yet on what they want to do.
Right, exactly. And it might not be a fit for everybody, but that's the idea. At least expose them and let them see if it works for them. And we wouldn't know otherwise if they weren't exposed to it.
So what was some of the stuff that was in the box?
So in the box, it's roughly probably a 10-inch by 8-inch box, 5 inches deep, and it was packed to the top. We gave them parts cut on our laser cutter. We gave them blocks of squares, dowels, some cable, some nuts and bolts, wood glue. We didn't give them any type of finish, so that was left up to them whether they wanted to leave it the bare wood or finish it themselves. That was the only open item. What we didn't expect was that we got a lot of feedback on whether they could use the box in their creation. And we did not think about that. Initially, we said no because we thought it would be difficult to broadcast that to everybody after they had received the box, because this was later in the process.
Yep.
But we eventually we were able to get a hold of everybody and tell them that the box was part of the materials. So we got some interesting pieces as a result of that. So literally, contents and box were all part of the project.
Thinking outside the box, excellent. And so really the challenge is they can build whatever they want to build, but it has to be, they can't use anything that's outside of what's comes in the box, including the box itself, with the exception of a paint or stain finish on the outside.
That is correct. Yep.
Okay.
Everything but a finished material.
All right, very cool. What was some of the feedback you got from parents on this?
Parents were excited about it. I think probably just about every kid came with one or two parents, and if not some of their siblings and grandparents. And they were all ecstatic about it. They said, we need more of this. Many of them said that they would be back the following year. So it was good inspiration to see the involvement and the excitement of the parents. They're really latched onto the concept, and like I said, for a first year event with no prior history, no photos or anything like that, it took off. It was great.
So you've said first year event a couple times. Tell us, this is an annual thing now?
This will be an annual thing. It's going to be, right now we're trying to do it in the first weekend of every November.
Okay.
It will be on our website, ckvalentidesigns.com. And I don't believe registration won't open up until October. But right now we're in the process of getting ready for this year's event. So definitely keep tabs on the website to see when registration opens up, and there's more information up there, but you can sign up via the website. We will release the date when registration opens. It'll be capped to about 40 to 50 people this year. We're increasing it by maybe about 10 or 15 people. But other than that, like I said, it'll be capped at about 40 or 50. And it'll be a similar. We'll probably change up the kit a little.
Okay.
But we'll do lunch and snacks again, and just for everybody to have a good time.
So there will be an announcement that'll go out on the website letting people know that they can register, either the parents or the children if they're interested, and then they'll come pick up the box of materials, have 2 weeks to build, and then you'll have the event in early November, which will be the judging day, where they bring their creations back in, and you'll have food and refreshments and fun and shop tours for the families.
That is correct. Yes, Judgment Day will be on a Saturday. I believe it's the first Saturday in November, but you can confirm once the event's on the website. But yeah, that's pretty much the rundown. It's show up by a certain time, and we will start laying out all the creations for the judges to start their review process. And then in the meantime, you can get shop tours. You can play with Legos. You could have some lunch. You could eat some ice cream. A little bit of everything. And then we will do the judging and then hand out prizes.
And so what are those prizes to get our listeners out there with kids excited about what they could win?
Well, we haven't selected this year's prizes, but I'll tell you what last year was, and that would be a good enticer. So first place was a programmable Lego kit, similar to the Mindstorms idea, but a lower tier of that. Mm-hmm. And then second place was I believe it was another building type kit, and then third place was actually a set of tools with a toolbox. So it was a good set of nice set of prizes that everybody enjoyed, and I'm sure made good use out of.
So items to keep them inspired and keep them building long after the day had passed.
Absolutely, yep. That was the idea. Go home and work with your hands again.
And you also did you bring the 3 winners back in for like a lunch and day at the shop as well?
Yes, so part of the prizes for first, second, and third was a 1-day apprenticeship here at the facility. We brought them in. We got them suited up with safety equipment, and then everybody got to make their own cutting boards with various types of woods in the shop, and it was a total hands-on day.
So what was the feedback you got from the kids from that day? Did they really just have a blast?
Yeah, they enjoyed it. We have a lot of good photos, but they enjoyed it. And what was really neat was they got to take something home as a result of a day's worth of work. So kind of showing them what's possible.
So you've got photos from that as well as the event on your Instagram. You want to share your Instagram handle with us?
Sure. Our Instagram handle is, I know I got some underscores in there, so I want to make sure I get it right.
And we'll have a link in the show notes as well. But yes, if you just want to read that for us too. Yes,
it is CK Valenti. That's CKVALENTI _ designs DESIGNS _ and that's our Instagram handle. And we have about 330 photos up there of various projects that we do, also the Breakout challenge, and just a little bit of everything. So really fun Instagram portfolio to look at.
So fans of building and neat items, marrying technology and traditional craftsmanship, they should follow you on Instagram, and they'll be entertained by your feed.
Absolutely, yeah. I think they'll enjoy the pictures. They're raw photos. We don't do any touch-up work, so it's raw photos, raw video of us in the shop or on site, or just doing whatever we do out in the field and working with tools and everything. So just want to give it present it as realistic as possible.
A true behind the scenes look. Well, that's, I think for any business, that is such a rare opportunity to see, to peek behind the curtain and see what goes on. And particularly for a business like yours, where you guys are creating such unique items and really kind of fun stuff for some pretty big name museums here in the Valley. It's a great opportunity to see what's coming, before it's publicly available.
Exactly, and I tell our clients to go on Instagram as well, because then they could see some of their projects in process. And our doors are always open, so we welcome shop tours. Just give us a heads up if you want to come in and see our facility. We feel the pieces that we make are an extension of the facility, and how organized and neat we keep it. So we like to show that off. So anybody's welcome to come in and see that.
Excellent. And we'll include a link to your website as well as contact information in here. So anybody who would be interested in that, you could definitely reach out to Chris, and your office manager, Lucinda, will coordinate with that.
Sounds good. Yep.
Excellent. All right. Well, thank you so much. This has been really interesting, talking about this issue of workforce readiness. And I love the approach you've taken of creating your own event, something to inspire kids and have them kind of do something different. And anytime there's a free event for a family like what you're doing, I think, people with kids are always looking for stuff to do on the weekends, and this is a great opportunity for that as well. So it checks a lot of boxes. Thank you for interviewing with us today and providing that.
You're welcome. Thank you for having us, and hopefully we can not only inspire kids to start working with their hands, but maybe we can inspire other shops to do similar to what we're doing, because we're just a small shop making a very small dent, and we kind of need everybody on board with this.
So if somebody would be interested in doing an event like this or partnering with you, you'd be more than happy to have them reach out to you and chat with them about that, another trades company or something.
Absolutely. We'll talk to them, tell them what's worked for us, and help them along. It's only beneficial for everybody else to do that. So we'll definitely collaborate. We'd love to do that.
Yeah, we're all stronger together, and I love that spirit of collaboration. I think that's awesome. So we'll definitely encourage anybody who's thinking about this, talk to Chris. He can share his experience with you. So Chris, we always like to finish off with one last question that we ask all of our guests. And that question is, how do you keep, one of the hard things about, and in your case, particularly being the owner of a business and running it day to day, but even if you're an important person inside of businesses, how do you maintain your passion? How do you keep yourself excited about getting up and coming in every day?
I think it's a couple things. One, I like to still work with my hands. So if I could still do that every once in a while, I don't get to do it as much as I used to, just because being the owner and wearing many hats. But if I could still build, fabricate, whether it's wood, metal, plastic, that's really helpful. I do like to do the drafting and the rendering. It's always nice to draw it and then see it be built. And then obviously the big one is, seeing the clients interact with our pieces and how they use it and how they get excited about it when we deliver it, and they're happy with the craftsmanship. They're happy with the quality. The pride we take, that's what keeps us going, is that we're not just out in the shop putting something together in a brainless mode and not looking forward to the end result. So, being able to see that piece in use and people getting excited about it, that's really important for us.
Well, that's got to be the really cool thing about what you do working with museums. And I imagine a large part of the attraction is you get to see the museum staff excitement, but then the number of lives you're going to touch with all the visitors that come through there too as well. So it's like that ripple effect of what you're doing and how you're having an impact in your community.
Yes, definitely. In the museum world, we definitely do have a lot of exposure to the people seeing our pieces. We believe in being part of the solution, and if we can make our clients successful, then they'll come back around to us. So that's what we strive for every day.
Oh, well, that's fabulous. Well, thank you so much for interviewing with us. I appreciate it. And we'll definitely have to do a follow-up at some point after this year's challenge, and you can share with us how it went, and we'll post some videos too. That
sounds good. I'm looking forward to it.
Excellent.
We hope you enjoyed episode 2 of the SMB Labs podcast. If you'd like to learn more about CK Valenti Designs, please view our show notes at 910west.com. If you like this podcast, don't forget to share with your friends. Thanks. See you next time.